I'm just going to start from this. All right, everybody. So this is a quick run through of Lame. I have another Lame video I did where it was a longer walkthrough. It was the first time I went through it. I looked at other people's walkthroughs and I tried to piece it together to learn it, and I used others in the community and through chat suggestions. But in this video, in this portion of our stream, we're going to try to get through Lame as fast as possible. And by doing that, we're just going to follow some of the steps we did in our documentation and some of the steps that we covered. So the first thing you want to do anytime you're on like HackTheBox is see if you can ping it. Can you reach it over the network? So we know we can. That means our VPN is established. We're connected in the HackTheBox network. So good. The box is up. You can also, and this is important, when you are working within HackTheBox, you want to make sure that if you're doing a retired machine or even an active machine, that it's running, meaning you can power these on and off or extend time or what have you, stop them, add it to your to-do list and reset it too, even if you think there's something seriously wrong with it. This way, you have control over it. This is kind of like you interacting with the hypervisor at HackTheBox. So that's what we had to do earlier when we were trying to kind of prep for this part, is we were looking for how do you turn the thing on. It's not responding to pings. So sure enough, you got to go in here. All right, so ping's working, meaning it's up, it's ready to be attacked. The next step is you want to do your NMAP, and we did an NMAP scan, just a basic scan to check and see what's running, what are the services running. And this takes a little while to run. It's discovering, it's sending it packets, sending it different types of TCP connect messages, and it's trying to essentially interrogate the machine, right? It's saying, hey, Lame, tell me what's running on you, what services can I connect. NMAP is pretty powerful. For those of you that don't know what NMAP is, that's the network mapper. NMAP is, it has much more than just scanning capabilities. It has a whole entire scripting engine. You can automate some hacks through NMAP. It's pretty fantastic. So we're gonna let this run a little bit, maybe even enjoy some nice Visualdon. You ever heard of Visualdon? He creates animated backgrounds like this and gives them away for free under the Creative Commons license. So for those of you interested in checking some of these out and having some of these running, feel free to do that. Go out to his site. You'll see some links I can give you and share you in the comments or in the chat. But I like his backgrounds. They're fun. Even you can play around in them and fly through the air. Right? So I'm flying through cyberspace, people. So this is NMAP, and this is what happens in the interweb. No, I'm kidding. This is what the interweb looks like. Right? No, I just like this. This is a super cool background here. So as we wait for some of these scans, I like to enjoy some of the sights and sounds, right? So the music in this is as a stream beats, also free beats and free music that's DMCA free. You don't worry free. You don't have to worry about getting in trouble because you got the permission, and they give you a document, legal document that says, you can use this for free. So fantastic. I love this stuff. All right, let's see. I bet you that NMAP scan is done. So I wouldn't do this on a normal engagement, but since this is a scan, or this is a live stream, I'm okay with it. So, okay, FTP, right? So we found that. We know that is not the case because we did our research, right? We saw no FTP is we can access, but we can't do a whole lot through FTP on this machine, right? And then we found that SSH is open, and on HackTheBox, And really in real life too, like it would be, it'd be great if you could hit the low-hanging fruit, which means the easiest exploit, and get in via SSH. But they say in the forums and through some of the tips in HackTheBox that this is not likely going to be the actual issue. It's going to be something more, something deeper. SSH is pretty straightforward. You can try to brute force it. And if you do that, you'll notice in most cases it won't work, because you need to use key-based authentication, which requires you having the key to get in, right? That's typically generated specifically on a machine, like a certificate, right? But then we saw these two things right here, right? We saw 139 and 445, which belong to a very important protocol out there in the wild of IT called server message bot. And that is to facilitate shares on a Windows network. But when you implement Samba, you're talking about sharing files with Windows systems that are actually hosted on a Linux server. So that Linux server is actually the file server, while there are Windows clients out there somewhere on the network accessing that file server. That's when you're going to need Samba. So you can think of Samba as a compatibility layer between Linux and Windows for file sharing. So it gives us a little bit more information about the domain and all that stuff that we don't necessarily need to know. So that's great. We did NMAP. Next step would be to test like FTP and stuff. We went through that and found that FTP really isn't helpful. So we did some more research, found some articles, and in the documentation I'll show you here that I did here in Cherry Tree is we went through FTP. We didn't, we were able to log in with an anonymous user, but it really didn't help us much. There's a ton of walkthroughs on Lame that provide insight. We then ran a SMB map scan, which shows us actually maps out what's being shared on that system, that target system, using SMB, right? So it found that. And we ended up finding some exploits. So we used Searchploit. We also used, in conjunction with Exploit Database or Exploit DB, to discover the version of SMB running on this, and that there's a CVE from 2007 that someone has a repo out there in GitHub with every fun little thing you need to connect into to this machine, or to any machine that has that SMB exploit, which this is what it's teaching us. It's teaching us about that specific SMB exploit, which, as you can see, was from a while ago. But you can probably guess out there that this has to exist in the wild somewhere. So patch your servers, people. Run updates. Run updates on your Linux server on Samba, and run just patch and update, right? And check your permissions, right? So please don't let this dumb mistake. This is a dumb mistake. This is a lazy one, right? So the next step was, okay, once you find that there is a vulnerability, then you look up and you see if somebody's already made an exploit for it. And if it's been out there for a while, there's probably an exploit for it that somebody just built. So what we did is we went out to the GitHub repo that is this CVE. CVE is a common vulnerability and exploit, kind of like this website and this repository of people sharing exploits and vulnerabilities publicly, saying, hey, this is a vulnerability, we need to patch this. This is how attackers can get into it. And hopefully you find people out there who will recommend patches, right? But this information is available to bad people and good people. So just keep that in mind. So then what we do next is we are going to be running Python 3. Now you do need to install Python pip to run this Python script, which this is part of that repo. I didn't write this Python script. So here's the syntax for it. I'll show you. We'll type the command out. So I'm going to leave this in the background because I don't have it memorized. So I'm going to do clear So you do Python 3 user map. Actually, it's not in the right directory, so I put all my exploits in my HackTheBox directory here. So you see how I have lame in there. I'll create a box for every single machine I'm working on, and then you'll see here CVE, and then it's in here. So then we'll do exactly what we wrote down. So Python 3 is the application we're using, or the language we're using, the utility. Then we'll do user map, which is the script, and then the target. So the target's 10, 3, and then the port SMB is 139. There's also 443, and then we're gonna do the IP address that our computer has, because we need to really, we need to start a netcat session too. So I'll show you. You open a new tab here, or if you're using tmux, divide up your one terminal window. So here I'm doing NCLVP 1337. So I'm just opening the port, opening a connection on 1337, listening now for connections. So this is gonna dump the exploit on the machine and then try to establish a shell with our Kali machine, right? So then we type the IP address of my machine, which is something I'm gonna need another shell for. So if I did this, IP add, it would tell me my IP address in Linux. I see 10.10.14.2 is my IP. So what do I type here? I type 10.10.14.2, and then the actual port that I used on netcat, and that would be kind of like a crash course on a reverse shell. You're basically opening up the door on your own machine and saying, hey, I'm opening connections to myself on this in this shell, right? And then next you're issuing some exploit, or you're issuing some action that provokes that target system to establish a connection with the shell on the system you're using as the attacking box. So here's where I'm gonna do 1337, which is this, notice, same port. So I'm basically saying I want that machine to connect to this IP address on this port, which is the machine I'm currently on right now. So I think that's the whole command. I'll do enter, see what it tells us. It's connecting, and then it says the payload is sent. Check netcat, wherever that is, right? So we're gonna go check it, and it says inverse host lookup failed, unknown host, connect to 10.10.14.2 from unknown. So then we have to run this Python command. So we're gonna do Python C import pty semicolon pty spawn, and then in this directory on the machine, right? And this would be a permissions issue. We're on the machine now. How do I know? My prompt changed to the host name of that device. I could ls, and I could try to find whatever data. If I can get up to root, that's an issue. So I can go into home directories, see who's in the home directory. I could go into, user. CD user. Sorry. CD user. I'm typing the wrong things. So I'm in the user. I'm doing ls. You see directories in there. Clear. See if that works. Cool, that worked. So ls. Go up. CD make his, you search around, user text, there's one of your flags right there, so you would just cat that, and find that. I'll let you find that yourself. But this is dangerous, because yes, this is a game on HackTheBox, but in real life, if this was somebody's production server, someone just got in, and now they're all over the device. They can do whatever they want, because they find their way through, and they're going to try to establish some type of hidden foothold on the device, exfiltrate data, right? And then that's where the crime begins, right? That's what happens with these cyber criminals, right? Is they're going to get on the machine, and then they're going to treat the stolen data like a commodity, like a stock, right? They trade it on the dark web like stocks, your personal information. So this is why it's IT people out there and aspiring IT professionals and the hackers and whatever you want to call yourself. This is why it's super important for you to make security a priority, and it's not just an afterthought. It should be in your design. It should be in your planning. You should have a patch management system. You should have a team. You should have a training program. So get involved in that. But it really starts with awareness. So if you've got the awareness of it, you're one step forward. And if you care, that's another step forward. So keep that going. Come up with your strategies. Get out there and meet people who can help you learn. Go on Twitch, go on YouTube, go on all these different training websites that you have. Read more. It's a constant moving target. So you have to move with it. You have to understand it. You have to practice. I think HackTheBox is a great way to really get in the mind of an attacker. So that was fun. I know typically we go a little bit longer. So for those of you out there listening and watching the stream and watching this video, I thank you for watching. Let me know if you have any questions. Feel free to join our Discord community. You can find that in my bio or in the comments of this video. Until next time, which will be Saturdays at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, live on Twitch. I hope you have a wonderful time. Hope you are effective. Hope you accomplish all your dreams, and keep learning.